I just wanted to share something with you that I discovered with a what's called a meridian arc that is about a little over 5,400 nautical miles from the Altai Pyramid in Russia to Lake Mead, Nevada. Probably the first thing you're thinking, if you're 99% of the people, is what the hell is the Altai Pyramid? And so it's a naturally formed, well, hypothetically, a naturally formed pyramid structure that's in the Altai territory on the Bashkilasky Ridge in Russia. Sorry about my pronunciation. You can see the coordinates here on the screen up in the corner. I can zoom in on that for you if you're curious to find it on your own. You can punch those coordinates into Google Earth, this, and then you'll find this. All right. But before we get into that concept, I just want to show you like what this says about our interconnectedness. That there's an inverse of everything within the universe, let alone here on Earth. Okay. To me, this will blow your mind. It did me, and I've been trying to find a way to articulate it visually, and I think this is it. All right. So first of all, here's what one of the researchers that actually physically visited the site found. You can see there's almost like a wall. He calls it a China wall, like a Great Wall of China. I wouldn't really call it that, but I mean, it is kind of a wall forming structure on the top, right? And then you can see here on the aerial, that's what this is. And then as you go down to some of these other photos from this blogger, you can kind of see how the wall is formed with magma, especially here where you can see the way that the ridge line goes down. I mean, even though it's naturally forming, it has an almost like an intentionally built vibration to it. How else do I say? When you look at it, you just get the sense that, well, it looks like this now, but I have a feeling like it was something more relevant before, and it was done by design, and this is just the remnants of it. And these megalithic structures that exist all over the world, like the researcher Valery Uvarov has pointed out, does a lot of great material on this type of thing. They connect to one another. They are like communication networks transmitting information to people, to node to node. People can actually, the reason you feel different at locations like this is because they have distinctly different energy signatures. I'm not just going to say that to say it. I mean, you can go out there with devices like the Helionosis uh, um, LM4, the life meter, and actually measure orgone, life energies, and find out how areas like this compare to places that are just normal or at different elevations. And you'll see increases in these types of signals. You'll see an elevated orgone energy signature to these types of areas. People will report either feeling better or worse. And it's not always that they feel better. There's places that are pyramids that there was a lot of dark activity that occurred there, and they were designed as energy accumulators. And so those are areas where you might feel drained instead of energized. And these are all things that, as we progress in our acceptance of certain types of sciences and alternative methods of measuring these things, we're learning more and more that these locations and the energies and the way they interact with humans, both at a physical level and an emotional, bioenergetic level, which is to say, when people receive information, when you feel like you're getting a quote download, well, this is what makes it possible. It's these naturally forming structures that are designed to radiate upward where you receive messages from, and I'll let you guess who and where. That's entirely up to you how you interpret that. But we're going to be dealing with concepts here when I show you our interconnectedness. This is the Altai Pyramid, all right? And this is going to blow your mind. Before I talk about this, though, I just need to quickly familiarize you with the concept of a azimuth, which is going back to the Google Earth here. An azimuth would be dropping a center point right there, and then saying, for example, I want to know where true north is. So notice this blue line. I just take out my line tool, just like this. I go boom, hang on, like that. And you can see I can form a 0 degree, well, pretty close to, right? But anyways, you can see how that's lined up if you don't accept that there's north right there. But you'll notice that the Altai Pyramid is not pointing due north at this time. It could have been aligned that way before. Right now it's at 15 degrees. That's where the ridge line of the pyramid goes, okay? So that's the azimuth that it aims at, 15 degrees. Now, before we go further, I want to familiarize you with the term meridian arc. So when you're doing these measurements, I'll use the ruler setting for nautical miles because we're dealing with concepts that are not just strictly traveling by ground. It's like air, marine, water, things like that. How many nautical miles are you traveling by ship? And since these lines that I'm drawing go clear around the world, what I do is I anchor a point here and I literally will aim it that direction and go all the way around the globe. When you get from one point to the other, it hits right at about 10,800 nautical miles. This meter will max out here. Then you have to start another line from the center point in the opposite direction. So it would be like this. And so you'll observe here that, this 15-degree line goes all the way around the world, but for it to meet here, you have to start a center point here, go 180 degrees in the opposite, and it winds up as a 195-degree angle. But you see what I'm saying? The Earth is round if you accept that. So this line is effectively just wrapping all the way around the Earth. And so when we talk about meridian arcs, let's get back to this concept. I'm going to show you a meridian arc that's exactly as a quarter meridian, which means 25% from point to point. This will blow your mind, okay? Interconnectedness. Look at the shape of this. Pay very close attention to what I'm telling you here. This is amazing, I promise you. I'm going to show you some of the dimension of this pyramid so you can kind of get a sense of its height and depth. It is, like you see in these photos, it's a considerable structure, mountain, whatever you want to call it, the Altai Pyramid. Now, watch where it goes. And I'll show you in the miles here. I'll put an anchor here. Drying. All right, here we go. Now, let's type in Lake Mead, Nevada. Remember, we're going all the way from Altai, Russia to Lake Mead, Nevada. And this is going to blow your mind. It's a pyramid structure in Russia. And when you go a quarter meridian, remember, a half meridian's about 10,800 miles. So a quarter meridian's about 5,400 miles. And look what you got there at about 5,479 nautical miles, a quarter meridian in the meridian arc. You get straight to the center of Lake Mead, Nevada. That's where this red line originates, from the Altai Pyramid at 15 degrees, right where it's pointing. So do you understand what I'm showing you? That when you look at this structure from the sky, that looks like Lake Mead, does it not? Like the flux capacitor in Back to the Future. It's almost like what you do is like a cookie cutter makes an imprint in the dough. It's like the mountain, the Altai Pyramid in Russia, when you go 25% around the world at 5,400 miles and 15 degrees from the point where this part is here. Remember, that's where the point is. That's the center of the pyramid. That's one wall. That's the other wall. And then you have Lake Mead on the other side. You need to see it again? Let's go back. I hope what I'm telling you resonates with you pretty strongly, because this says everything about our interconnectedness. Literally at a quarter meridian, this exact concept I'm showing you right here. Here, let's just hypothesize as Altai. And right here is Lake Mead. It works exactly like this, what I'm just showing you, in case you need a better visual of it. And here it's the three-sided pyramid, and here it's the Lake Mead that has, you see what I'm saying? Let's fly all the way around the world. And that's where that 15-degree point winds up from the Altai Pyramid. It goes straight to the center point of Lake Mead, just like a cookie cutter. Pretty amazing, huh? So I just wanted to share that with you. I have a lot more of this type of research that I'm going to be sharing. There's a lot of it, guys. I can show you so much interconnectedness between us and all these other places in the world that once you understand things the way that I do, you know, it opens up a whole new world to the way you perceive reality and the way you approach world problems and let alone individual things. These types of revelations, when you really get them, will completely change everything, I promise. But that's why I needed to share it with you in a way that's more coherent and cohesive. People seem to be resonating with it, so I'm going to be putting out more of these. So I really appreciate you. Thank you for watching.